Welcome to another episode of Mythic Drafting, where today we're going to be drafting another March of the Machine draft and taking a look at our first pick. We have Knight Errant of Eos, 4 and a white for a 4/4 Convoke, and when it enters the battlefield you can look at the top 6 cards of your library, and then you can reveal up to 2 creature cards with mana value X, where X is the number of creatures that convoked it, and then you put them into your hand. So pretty powerful effect for being in the white Convoke archetype. But white, the only white deck I really like is blue-white for this. So that really locks you in, I think, in terms of drafting the most powerful deck into blue-white. I think the pick here would normally be Blight Reaper Thallid, but I'm pretty conscious that the last few drafts have been blue-black. So I kind of want to do something a little bit different here, and I think I'm going to just go ahead and take the Knight Errant of Eos. It's a powerful card that's similar to the Blight Reaper Thallid. It's not as powerful. It's not as, I think, good of a first pick, given this is in a better color. It's a cheaper card, and it's pretty powerful as well. But we're going to mix things up a little bit here and go for the Knight Errant of Eos there. Now, if I'd started with the Blight Reaper Thallid, this would be a very easy collective nightmare. But there's an Invasion of Gobakan, which exiles a card. They can pay 2 more to cast it, and on the backside, you can put it, it's an enchantment that puts a +1/+1 counter on each creature that attacked each turn. Certainly a powerful effect, but I think the other option is there's a Fire Song and Sunspeaker in white-red, but this card's like really specific in that you need a white instant or sorcery to cause you to gain life for it to be really good, and I don't think there's a lot of that in this set that makes it good. The other one's Nezumi Informant, and then there's just a Realmbreaker's Grasp, which I think is going to be the pick here over the Invasion. I think there's certainly an argument to just take Collective Nightmare here, or over the Informant, but given we took a white card first, I think we just follow it up with another white card and stay on colour there. Now we have a pick between... So a couple of interesting options here. Corruption of Twash is nice, but that's obviously in the blue-black realm of things. There's an Overgrown Pest, which I like in green, an Etherblade Agent in black, and there's not really any strong white cards for us in this pack. The other option is Meeting of the Minds, which is really good in the blue-white Convoke deck with a lot of Knights. I could see that being a strong option here and preferencing blue, but blue is quite heavily drafted in the current meta. I think that would lean me towards taking the Overgrown Pest, although I haven't loved the green-white decks. I think it's just more powerful of a card. And it's still at this point, like we could be like green multicolored deck and not committed to this here. Wow, so now there's another Realmbreaker's Grasp. There's a Zerta the Dawnwaker, which doesn't really work for us. There's also a Kenra Spellspear and a Skittering Surveyor, as well as an Alabaster Host Intercessor. So this is a really interesting pick. It's worth noting the blue common is gone, so blue is definitely being cut. I think the most powerful card is Spellspear, but I haven't loved white-red. Could be interesting to try and make that work with like a white-red aggro deck with the Knight Errant of Eos. I think... It's also like an argument taking Surveyor, but I think here the Spellspear is actually... I think we're just going to go ahead and take Realmbreaker's Grasp. I think there's an argument to taking Spellspear, but I think we just want to like stay one color committed at this point and not commit ourselves to the Spellspear just yet. Now, having said that, we get past a 5th pick, Stoke the Flame, so we will be moving in this instance, and I would have much preferred to have the Spellspear over the second Grasp, but I think it's still the right pick there, like to stay more based in one color than spread yourselves over to 3 without like a super strong signal. Certainly, I think the Stoke here is strong enough that we're going to be willing to move in on that one. Now, presented with some more interesting options. Sigil Sentinel is good in white. There's a white-red dual land which we could take, but I think the Vigilance with the Convoke, cheap creature, it has backup as well, which is good in white-red if we do end up in that color pair. Not something I've drafted a ton of. Probably worth taking over. Like, I don't think the Host Crush is playable, and These other cards aren't particularly good. Again, it does leave us open to just being base white at this point. And now we get a pretty good one here in Ragavan Master Smith. This card is a 2/2. Whenever a creature that you control it's enchanted or equipped attacks, it gains double strike. If we can pick up some equipment here, this one's going to be really nice in the white-red aggressive deck. And I think it's pretty clear that that's the lane we're sort of meant to be in here. It's worth taking it over, I think, the Kithkin Billy Rider, even though I do like that card. And now, wow, now. So we get the other white-red here. Uncommon. Whenever a creature you control becomes a target of a backup ability, copy that ability. You can choose new targets for that copy. So effectively makes all your backup creatures like Enduring Bond Warden activate twice. It has Vigilance, and it can also, like, you can back this up and start making a huge body. So if you play Sigil Sentinel after this, well then both your creatures are 3/3 Vigilance instead of just one of them. So now actually this is an interesting here. Creatures you control with first strike have double strike. We don't have a ton of first strike yet, and I actually think the pick here is the core Halberd. Given we have the Ragavan Master Smith already, it's cheap equipment, it pumps all of our cheap creatures, and fits into sort of the theme of what this deck wants to be doing. I'm going to go ahead and pick that one up here. Now, wow, so could take Tarkir, Dune Shaper, or the Trailblazing Historian, but I actually think we just take Firesong on Sunspeaker. It is just a bit of a dirtily 4/6 for 6. We'll get to that in a minute. We could take Thrashing Frontliner, or we could take Furnace Host Charger here. I don't mind playing one Host Charger, and I think there's better 2-drops, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and take that there. But yeah, the Sunspeaker, like, I don't think there's much that works with it in this set that causes us to gain life. But if we do pick anything up, like, it might be worth playing it. Now I can just take a Scrap Chomper again. That's more of a black-red card than a white-red card. I think it's pretty safe to say we're not playing the Pesty Boy here. We've got a pretty decent base to draft a nice white-red deck. We've already got 3 removal spells, a decent-ish curve. Actually, I think we're going to pick up the Kite Sail here over the Burning Sun's Fury. It's just another equipment, helps you go over the top, and wow, I think we'll actually probably end up playing Red Cap Heel Slasher in this deck. And another one we're going to be playing, second Stoke the Flames is sweet here. I think it's probably likely we're not playing these 6-drops in this deck, but yeah, going to go ahead and take a Stoke the Flames here. Move our equipment over here. Card sale's like just a little bit worse than I think the Halberd, just because it's more expensive on both sides. It's less efficient. It does give flying, which is good, but when you've got the benefit of like Ragavan, and that's really more of what we're trying to do with that, I think the Halberd's going to be better than the Kite Sail. But if we pick up another Ragavan, it may be that we just want to run both, unless we pick up another Halberd late to try and maximize the chances that we have an equipment and have Ragavan in play. But yeah, I think we're going to want potentially to play some of the 1-drop red cards as well as the 1-drop white creatures. Now I have an interesting pick here. There's an Invasion of Regatha, which isn't particularly good in this deck. There's also the Heliod, the Radiant Dawn, which is a 4/4 for 4 with a little bit of upside in that we can flip it. And then like potentially it gets back a Realm Breaker's Grasp if they've put it in the bin. The other one I like is just Sigil Sentinel with the Mirror Shield Hoplite, and it's better for our curve. I think actually the Sentinel is just going to be better in white-red. It seems kind of counterintuitive over like the Regatha. There's also a Brooded Clad if we want to splash, but we don't want to do that over the Heliod. But we want to get creatures on the battlefield. The fact that this has Vigilance is awesome for Knight Errant of Eos. And yeah, if we can pick up some more Mirror Shield Hoplites, it's going to be really sweet for us. Now there's an Artistic Refusal pick 3, but the pick for us here is just Knight of the New Coalition. It's 2 bodies, which is good with our equipment. It's good with Stoke. It's great with Knight Errant of Eos. Just a card we're definitely happy to pick up there. Now we get hooked up with a 4th pick Nahiri's Warcrafting. So this deals 5 damage to target creature. You can look Planeswalker or battle. Look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the excess damage dealt. You can exile one of them and cast it this turn. Also hoping to wield one of these white cards, but Nahiri's Warcrafting is just a really strong card that we're definitely going to want here. And the more cheap cards that we can pick up, the better with Warcrafting, as it maximizes the chance that you'll actually hit something you can play. Speaking of, we're going to pick up an Enduring Bond Warden here. Cheap backup creature, which is good for us. Cheap creature for Convoke. And the backup with the Mirror Shield Hoplite's fantastic. Certainly hope to see some more of those opened, which theoretically should get passed to us because no one else really should be in white-red at this table. Now I think we just take the Seraph of New Capenna. It's not super exciting, but I think it's better than Dreadship in this deck. Dreadship's better in the black-red deck, and it can just transform into the 3/3, which can sack some weaker creatures, in a stalled-out state of battle. Now it's interesting, actually. Invasion of Kylum is one I haven't played with a ton. When it enters the battlefield, up to 2 target creatures each get +2/+0 and gain Vigilance and Haste until end of turn. And the backside is you create 2 3/2s whenever that basically pump each other if they attack. I think we will take this, but we're only going to play it if we get a lot of early cards, early plays here, early creatures. We don't want to be playing this on empty boards. Now I've got to pick between the 3rd Realmbreaker's Grasp or the 3rd Sigiled Sentinel. I actually think we have enough removal at this point. We need more creatures, and so I'm going to take the Sentinel there over the 3rd Realmbreaker's Grasp. I think Sentinel is just sweet, especially if we manage to get some additional Mirror Shield Hoplites here. Now I don't like Trailblazing Historian, and I don't mind Halo Hopper in these really aggressive decks. Don't really want to play it, but I'll go ahead and take it here. It's much better in the blue-red deck. I think we'll just take Inspired Charge here. I think this one's actually better than Invasion of Kylum, and Scapeshift is something I'm happy-ish to play if we have enough effects, effects that are worth flickering. Got the 2nd Core Halberd there, which means I'm going to cut the Kite Sail. Sort of hoping we see some more of these white-red 2-drops, and we're certainly going to be preferencing the 2-drop slot coming up here. Would have been awesome if we had taken that Kenra Spell Spear over the Realmbreaker's Grasp, and then we would have been able to take, I think, the 2nd Grasp over the 3rd Sentinel. That probably would have been a better line. Wow. And so this is the perfect open here for white-red. Ragavan Nimble Pilferer is just an awesome card in this deck. Absolutely obscene if you can play it on turn 1. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you create a treasure token, so you accelerate, and then you exile the top card of that player's library, and until end of turn you can cast that card. So Ragavan's awesome. We're really hoping, I don't think we're going to wield the Seal from Existence, but we would play Sunblessed Guardian or Swordsworn Cavalier or even Shatter the Source in this deck. So can't complain with opening the Ragavan there, but certainly we'll be hoping to will some other cards from that pack. Now I get another sweet pack. Realmbreaker is a card I haven't had the chance to build around yet in a control shell. But there's a Captive Weird, Merciless Repurposing, Rails Reinforcements, Cut Short, Storm Sculptor. But the card I think we're going to take is Invasion of Mercadia here. This one has done a lot of work for me. If you can flip it, the backside's very strong in these go wide white-red decks. And the front side is just a good late game play. I think we're probably going to cut the Invasion of Kylum, given our curve isn't low enough, and this will probably be the one battle that we ride with in this deck. And now we're going to go ahead and take a Zalfurin Lancer, which, given we have 3 knights here, another knight, and another knight here, and it potentially has Vigilance as well, it's just going to be pretty good in our deck. If we can pick up some more knights, it'd be even better. Now I've got an interesting pick here between the Knight of the New Coalition and Sunblessed Guardian for our curve purposes. And I think we actually, as tempting it is to take the Knight of the New Coalition, this deck wants more 2-drops. And while this is not an optimal one, I think it's just a pick where we take the weaker card for our curve purpose. Wow, pick 5 Xeric Strobe Knight, we would have had a sick blue-white deck as well, but certainly not unhappy with where we ended up. I think this is between Hanger Scrounger and Red Cap Heel Slasher. I don't love either of these cards, but our 3-drop slot's already a bit crowded, and I think the Heel Slasher may be better. The body it also leaves behind is just better with Core Halberd. But the 4-drop that we want more of is Bowler Slinger for the tap effect. So I'm going to go ahead and pick that one up here. Now I think we're just going to take Alabaster Host Sanctifier. Again, not an exciting pick, but a 2-drop for our curve is important. I think it's just the pick there. Going to take an Anarchy Javelineer, but given we're already at 24 cards, I don't think it's going to be making the cut. Swordsworn Cavalier is a card that will be making the cut. And I'll probably be making it over the Host Intercessor. Rouse Reinforcements, this is not the deck for it. I have some interesting cuts here. I think we can take a Searing Bar, but again, yeah, we're not playing that one. Probably not playing Dreadship, but Storm the Seacourse should be going 4th pick. I think the cuts here are pretty interesting. Like, it's potentially an argument to play 24 cards in this deck. I think it might be the Sanctifier. I just don't love Sanctifier. It's probably also just Inspired Charge. I don't really go wide enough for it to be fantastic. I think the Halberds do a similar effect. Although maybe that we do want one of both. The deck is pretty aggressive. How many creatures do we have? That's the 15 creatures. So I think we do want to cut one of these effects to give us more creatures. Stoke the Flames is like so good with all these Vigilance creatures as well. I think we... Could also just be the Seraph of New Capenna that gets cut. But I don't really want to cut a creature. I think let's just go ahead and run one Core Halberd. I'm kind of curious to see what Inspired Charge is like in a deck like this. I don't think it's like particularly strong, but I haven't played with it. I haven't played many aggressive decks like this, so I want to give it a whirl and just see what it's like. And I'll see you guys for game number 1. Alrighty, here for game number 1, and unfortunately having to start off with a mulligan into another unplayable hand here. So we're going to have to mull to 5, which is pretty rare. This one's a keeper. I think we just have to bin Realmbreaker's Grasp and the Inspired Charge and just keep this 5-card hand. Very unlikely to win this game on a mull to 5, but pretty unlucky to get those 2 opening hands with all mountains and all white spells effectively. But there's always a chance, so you never know. Now, of course, we've drawn the land. Could have like binned the land, but you just can't risk that not being able to play your spells, so... Just going to have to hope that this Seraph of New Capenna can just get in the air. Certainly, I think like this draft, wow, so they've just... Wow, they've hit the land there. That's amazing for the opponent. But yeah, I think this draft just demonstrates why, right here, why blue-black can be so powerful. Things like Omen Hawker into Captive Weed is so good. I think if I was like was playing this at a higher level event, I certainly would have just taken the 2-drop in black and then moved into a black deck. But you know, can't complain with where we ended up, and it's certainly nice to do something different, which was the intention for the channel. Now we have a bit of an interesting decision point. I think we just want to run out the Knight of the New Coalition here. and then offer the trade. Yeah, they're not going to be trading there, but may as well try. I think next turn we might just probably Nahiri's Warcrafting the Xeric Strobe Knight before they get to the point where they can cast 2 spells in 1 turn. There's a Blight Reaper Thallid, which is the card I would have taken. And like we saw a lot of late Omen Hawkers, the late Artistic Refusals. We probably would have ended up in blue-black, and our deck would have been very, very similar to the opponents. But happy to just try something different here with white-red. Just thought I'd mix things up for the channel and not draft the same like blue-black controlled tempo deck that really dominates the format along with blue-white. But I think it's just also a lot easier to get into blue-white than it is to get into... it's a lot easier to get into blue-black than it is to get into blue-white, I think. So now we'll go ahead and trade one here. Opponent may have like Collective Nightmare or something with the 1 black up, but I don't think we can afford to play around at this point. And again, like we're just trading 1 for 1. It looks like they do have Collective Nightmare here, which is pretty brutal for us, given they can now make a knight as well. Going to be very, very tough for us to win this game on the Multi 5. Basically, I think it's pretty much impossible at this point. So I think we just need to play the Heel Slasher and get a little bit more on the defensive here. We're going to be able to block the Strobe Knight. This blocks everything. If they have a way to remove the Heel Slasher, we're just pretty screwed. But yeah, Tsuko is also going to do work for them with the 1/1s. And if they're going to offer the trade here, we just snap take that. So that's great for us. They're not going to be able to get any more 2/2s. We can actually just kill Tsuko. So I think let's go ahead and take out Tsuko. We can't cast Mirror Shield Hoplite, which is unfortunate. Let's go ahead and get the Plains. Can't cast that. Oh, we can play that. So now I think we just run out the Sentinel and we just make it a 3/3. Would have been sweet if we got the Mirror Shield Hoplite there, but unfortunately that we didn't draw the right lands to be able to do that. There was no way we could have tapped to cast that. Opponent's got another flyer. I'm going to go ahead and rip a card off that as well next turn. Oh, they can do it this turn, sorry, with Omen Hawker. They just hit the land though, so that's fine. They've got 1 card in hand, so we're somewhat stable here. We can play Enduring Bond Warden and make a 4/4 Vigilance. I think that's the play here. Enduring Bond Warden is not particularly good in this instance, but it does allow us to have an additional blocker that blocks all that ground creatures. Effectively, we're just on a 7-turn clock here, and we want to draw something like Stoke the Flames, but really I think it's going to be hard for us to... Well, there's the Stoke. To win this one, because opponent's much more likely to have more card advantage spells than us, and we're already 2 cards down. There's the Dispersal. Pretty slick play there. They're going to get it back, they're going to get to flip it again, and then they get to, you know, draw another card, more card advantage. They're surveilling now to set it up. And this is why blue-black, the redundancy of it's so high, whereas with like decks like white-red, we really have to curve out. We're relying on, you know, obviously not mulling to 5, and I think if we had a 7-card hand, we would have been a decent shot in this game. But now, yeah, I mean, Corruption of Tawashi is just a card advantage engine that's going to take over for the opponent. I think it's pretty safe to say at this point that, yeah, we'll be losing this game. I think, honestly, seen enough of this one at this point almost. We'll give the opponent 1 more turn. They get to transform that this turn, draw a card. They get to draw a card off Aerialist, and really they're just going off at this point. We'll give them the pleasure of doing it for a little bit. So Oracle of Tragedy comes down now. Probably going to... Filtering their hand. I think they should just flip and get in at this point, unless they draw something. Like, they can get with the 4/4, effectively drawing 2 cards off of Skyclave Invader and in combination with the Tawashi, and probably attack with the 4/4 here. Yeah, so now they make it a 5/5. I think there's an argument there to actually put the counter on the Blight Soul Thallid and attack with both 4/4s, because then you can start clearing our blockers and putting pressure on the ground as well. Because then he would have been able to attack with both, and we can only kill one. And so just ups the clock to make it the we die next turn. We'll go ahead and trade there. But really, we're just drawing dead at this point. The only thing is, like, they definitely shouldn't have played, I think, any of these creatures. They should have just held everything. And the reason for that is, up against a white deck, you just want to make sure you're not playing into the Sunfall, which is probably the only card in the set that can win us the game from this position. But that's going to do it, and I'll see everyone for game number 2. Alrighty, back again for game number 2. Another pretty awkward hand here. This hand really doesn't do very much, but we're on the draw, so I'm going to keep it. This is the thing with aggro in this format, is like the white, like the aggro decks require everything to sort of come together really well, whereas the blue, black and blue white decks are just so redundant in terms of how well they're so redundant in terms of how well they draw, and they can play both aggro and control roles, whereas like white red in this deck, like we just can't play a control role. So if we're not on the beatdown, like we're significantly disadvantaged against those decks, whereas they had the flexibility to be able to perform well in both roles because their cards are so efficient. They have so many 2-for-1s, they can play low curves and still operate as a control deck. So now opponent, I wonder if many of these opponents were actually in our draft, because a lot of the cards we played against our last opponent were in their deck, and Invasion of Gobakhan here was also in there. It's pretty unlikely on Arena, but you know, it can happen every now and then if you're playing in the same like tempo, same rhythm. Luckily for us, Invasion of Gobakhan isn't that good here. Does make the Knight of New Coalition much more expensive, but eventually we'll still be able to cast it. If we can prevent them from flipping it, they're never going to get the card out of it. So now I'm going to go ahead and just run out the Halberd, suit up our Bond Warden, and then get in with the old Bondy Boy. They can trade here, but then we get to put the counter on our creature, and next turn we're going to have Stoke the Flames as well. Probably should have just played Plains that turn, given that they know about these lands, so they don't know we draw a mountain that turn, and then they don't know that we're going to be able to cast Stoke. But it's pretty niche case there. So Wary Thespian comes down here. Wow, this is aggressive from opponent. The Crystal Carapace. +3/+3 in Ward 2. Basically, almost have to let this flip, but simultaneously, we can't really afford to do that. Wow. So yeah, I mean, they definitely should have attacked there, because we either have to chump, and then we can't Stoke the Flames and pay the ward cost and kill it, and then they just like eat it again, or that we let it go through, or we could have, you know, double blocked there, but that's fine for them, I think. Instead, now we just go ahead and Realm Breakers grasp this Thespian and pay the 2 for it. Not a problem for us. Pretty sick draw for us there. Next turn we can transform into the Furnace plus Conqueror. We're going to have Stoke the Flames as well as an option. And then we've got the Knight of New Coalition when we eventually draw that 6th land. Defector Defector is a nice one. So now I think we just pay could flip here, but flipping isn't that good into the infected defector. I think we just... It's interesting here, actually. We could stoke the flames this, but that doesn't seem particularly good either. I think we just want to play the Mirror Shield Hoplite and then hold up Stoke. And the reason for this is we can like double block next turn. If they have a trick, we can just Stoke the response. Cards, see, like there as well, like if we knew they had Infected Defector in their hand, we probably would have just stoked the Wary Thespian and missed out on the 4 damage because Realmbreaker's Grasp is so good against Infected Defector, whereas Stoke isn't amazing at it. So, well, they probably should have done that if they were planning on attacking, or if they weren't going to attack, they could have done that if we went to pay the cost to flip it. Now I think they're probably going to attack. We're fine to double block here. It presents us with the best trade. Like they can take out the Hoplite here. But we're going to get the Knight of New Coalition, which can deal pretty well with the Incubate token here. So the Rotten Tail, not worried about that. Stoke's decent here. Obviously have no attacks. Just have to wait to draw. Just really hope they draw a land this turn basically, because then we can stoke this. Actually, we probably should have stoked it on our turn, but not to worry, they didn't draw anything. We also know they don't have any instants or sorceries now. It's just a land from the opponent. That's great for us. We can go ahead and get in here. So they're going to chump here. It's interesting because I don't have anything yet. So now we've just got free reign. We've got 6 power and toughness. They're on a 3-turn clock here. We've got a removal spell for 1 creature. Hopefully they don't draw anything that they can put that on. The fact they haven't drawn anything there is pretty brutal for the opponent. Yeah, and Ryav is just going to close this one out pretty quickly now because it's going to help. It makes us a 2-turn clock instead because Enduring Bond Warden now has double strike. So we can go ahead and chip the turn. We can stoke anything they play. Hopefully get the first win there with the white-red, and I'll see everyone for game number 3. Alrighty, back again for game number 3. Not an amazing hand again, but certainly a hand we're going to be keeping. We're just waiting for that sweet, sweet hand where we have Ragavan on turn 1. Haven't managed to get it here, but this is a hand where it would be just amazing with like it into Realmbreaker's Grasp, making treasures, clearing the way, casting spells. So hopefully we get to see Ragavan turn 1 at some point in this draft, but we'll just have to wait for that one. It's also fine, like if you draw it later in the game when you can dash it in on an unsuspecting opponent. And like usually it'll get to draw a card. Captive Weird is a really nice one against Ragavan though, but yeah, obviously I think we're probably just going to Realmbreaker's Grasp this before they get to transform it. Don't want them getting the additional card for free, and it's mana efficient for us. Particularly like now that we've seen they're on Triple Island. Very happy with that. Not happy with drawing 5 planes here. Unfortunate because we're not going to be able to cast Stoke. Enduring Bond Warden, it's alright, but yeah, it's not the ideal play here. Zoomy Informant, we don't actually care about because we've got a whole bunch of additional planes that we just do not need. We really need a forest. So now we could like Enduring Bond Warden onto the Sigiled Sentinel. I think we're just gonna I think we just go ahead and get in here. think we might just hold the Bond Warden for now. If we draw like the Mirror Shield Hoplite, there's also like we might see more information about, you know, how we want to play the Enduring Bond Warden. Opponent was like thinking about blocking there. And if we draw Mountain, we can still cast Stoke and Enduring Bond Warden. So, oh, that opponent getting in now. They've got Suzuko up. Would have been really good to play around the Vanquish of the Week there, but not to be. Go ahead and Sigiled Sentinel again. Again, I don't think we just want to like run this card out to just make it a 4/4. It just seems like such a waste of a card. Now that we know they're probably going to put Vanquish on top, we will do that because now we can negate that. Go ahead and run out the Bond Warden. Put it on Sigiled Sentinel here. And we'll offer the trade here. Because, yeah, we get to put the counters now on the Bond Warden. And here I think we actually just hold the grass because now if we draw like Mountain at any point, we can just deal with the Suzuko and then all their creatures aren't, like we can block them. Like they can Vanquish here, but that's fine. Wow, the next plane's pretty brutal. Just drawing so many planes and no mountains. Invasion of Eldraine. I think we just bin a Stoke and a Plains. We can, given we can cast the so now actually we're gonna super interesting here because we can Realm Breaker's Grasp the Omen Hawker, which means they can only put 2 on this, which means we can Stoke next turn. Yeah, I think we just need to stop them from flipping the Invasion of Eldraine here. And so now, like, they'll do 2 to it. We'll be able to Stoke the Tsutsuko. If we draw a Mountain, we can Stoke and kill Nezumi Informant. Phyrexian Gargantua really punishes us for that play. That's probably like the perfect draw there. Because like if we didn't do that, they would have got to flip this, and that would have just been a clock that we couldn't deal with. Now they had a pretty interesting line. And that's the reason why Artistic Refusal, pretty brutal there. So I mean about like blue-black, just such a strong deck in the format. Absolutely the gold standard of taking advantage of all these little cards here. Now I think we just have to Stoke Phyrexian Gargantua and just accept that these things are going to be unblockable for pretty much the rest of the game. So I think we're going to have to get in here now. Just hope that we outdraw opponent. I mean, they could have flipped this, which I think would have been a much faster clock if they... Because, like, they're trading 2 points of damage. They would have done this for 2. Wow, opponent's deck is really good. Like, this is an insane blue-black deck with double Captive Weird, Omen Hawker. It's very, very nice. Halo Charge Scarab. The redundancy is just all there. Artistic Refusal to lock us out. So now I think we just put the counter on the Seraph. Get to copy it again. But I think we just... Let's see, if we put this on here, we can do 6 damage next turn. I think we want to put it on both. Get in here. And now we can actually like block the 3/3, double block the Scarab. I've got Refusal, but we don't have to cast any spells. We just kill them in 2 turns. This game's actually a lot closer than I think it should be. I think they really should have flipped the Invasion of Eldraine because it deals 2 damage. We have to block here. The question is just... Oh no, we just chump here. Because when we flip this as a 5/5 and then we sacrifice another creature. Yes, yeah, yeah. So I think actually we just win here because it's gonna be a 5/5 and then we buff it. So yeah, I think we actually just win. Unless they draw something off Artistic Refusal here. Wow, so I cannot believe we actually pulled out. Unless, of course, I mean, they could still hit off the refusal. I think we potentially just, like, they should tap all 3, give themselves the maximum chance of being able to cast whatever they draw. There's a pretty high chance, I think, like, we're strongly favoured to win from this position. A lot of their removal seems to be in the bin here. So they're going to discard. Discard Rona. Wow, that deck is nuts. We sacrifice and then just pray they haven't drawn anything. Looks like they have drawn something though. Zalfira and Shapecraft. Wow, get the win there. That's a sick win. 2-1. Did not expect to win that game. And I'll see you all for the next one. Alrighty, here for game number 4. This is probably the best hand we've had so far. Bondwarden's just so much better when you play it on turn 1 and you get to actually put the backup counters on it. Having a Sentinel, having the Warcraft and the Stoke is nice. Up against another equipment based deck here. Couple of equipments, so gonna go ahead and get in here. They could have Annihilating Essence or Cyber Cryptomancer. Not sure that's the most effective use of the old Crypto Boy, but they can make a 2/3 Vigilance Hexproof creature, so that's something. We're going to go ahead and just run out the Sigils. I think we do just want to run out the old Sigil Boy. And just get the extra counters here. We don't want to attack, we want to be able to block here, but yeah, like they're going to have to... There's 2/3s relevant on the board. We get to eventually put the counters on something new. We can go ahead and cast Seraph here over Rive and get that down. Opponent's probably going to have like the Convoke draw 2. No, they don't. So now we're in a pretty nice spot here. I wonder whether opponent has Sunfall here. I'm just going to pass the turn here. Like, this is a pretty weird line from the opponent to not have anything at all here. So they've got Protocol Knight now. So they can tap something down. Yeah, it's just strange that they weren't like attacking before. And so like I just didn't want to like run out another creature into Sunfall. But now we'll go ahead and stoke the Protocol Knight. Could have like Aerial Boost here, but if they do, it's still just a 1-for-1. We have 2 more removal spells, so it's worth like the upside if they... Yeah, okay, so Aerial Boost there. That also indicates to me that they don't have Sunfall, because if they did, I don't think they play it like that. So we could Warcraft here, but I think Warcraft's better served on a smaller creature. Here I'm actually pretty tempted to just suit up Seraph, play Rive, Just start getting it in the air here. Don't want to sack anything yet. You only want to do that when you're closing the game out. But now, like we just set up with our removal to clear the way, I don't know if they're going to suit up. Probably suit up here. We're not going to block there. Now they have to pay the mana to move this back, which they don't. So we can go ahead and Realm Breaker's Grasp here. So we'll be able to get in with the team. And then I think we just want to go ahead and red cap Heal Slasher onto the Bond Warden, because that'll mean the Bond Warden can get through every turn. We're pretty stuffed at this point, I think, to Sunfall. But given the way they played out, I just don't feel like they have Sunfall here. So, especially now that they've done that. I mean, they get to eat a Seraph of New Phyrexia, but the Bond Warden's going to be able to get through. It's just so annoying that this thing sticks around with the Hexproof. And we're probably going to be able to cast something off of Nahiri's Warcrafting if they don't. Draw something. Core Halberd's sweet here. Core Halberd is really good here, because we can make our Sigiled Sentinel have Vigilance, and it will get Double Strike, and effectively we can force them to have to chump here, because this will deal 6 damage by itself. So we can just swing out now, and yeah, they had to like block there. They couldn't block here, and that's just enough damage for the win. 3-1, nice little bounce back after that first game, and I'll see you for game number 4. Alrighty, back for game number 5 with a hand that we're definitely going to keep. Sunblessed Guardian into the Knight of the New Coalition, into Knight Errant of Eos. First time seeing this rare. We haven't seen Ragavan. We hadn't seen this previously, so got the Stoke the Flames back up as well. Let's go ahead and see what we can do with this one. Bolasting is also a good one there. Nice little follow-up play. Just need to hit one land here for this hand to really be functional. Up against black-red. Invasion Mercadia is fine here. Like, this card's much better in later turns. Certainly fine to like play if you're the opponent there, but yeah, we can go ahead and cast Enduring Bond Warden now, and we'll put the counter on itself again because we've got the Bola Singer. I think that's definitely worth it. Up against Jund here, they can kill the Bond Warden if they want. Not worried at all about Portent Tracker, but now we're just going to go ahead and convoke out Knight Errant of Eos. We just want to use our mana this turn. We've managed to pick up Swordsworn Cavalier, which is very, very nice. Just needed to like make a play there. I would have rather played Knight of the New Coalition, because it would have set up a really strong Knight Errant of Eos turn, being able to like hit 2 creatures off it. But it's worth the risk there to hit one of our 2 drops and get that one out there. They're gonna, wow, they've hit 4 colors here. So I thought opponent might have been on black-red, and that's why Invasion of Mercadia wouldn't have been as good, but certainly in the 5-color deck is just a smoother here. That's absolutely fine. They go ahead and Deadly Derision there, and then they get a Wary Thespian. I'm not too bothered by that. Enduring Bond Warden's a pretty good answer for that one there. So we could play Bola Slinger onto Sunblessed Guardian, which I think we want to do here, because Sunblessed Guardian gets better the more counters it's got on it. So we can tap down the Thespian and get in here. And now if we like flip this, it's going to be a 3-3 that makes, it's going to be a 4-4 that makes another 4-4. So they've got Rampaging Geodome. They can attack their invasion here, and they're going to get to flip it, which is annoying. So they get the counter. We can actually just chump here, and then put the counter on the Sunblessed Guardian and stoke this. I think I like that line. So put the counters here. So we could just get in here with Sunblessed Guardian. Like we could pay the life. This is a 5/5 that makes a 5/5. We can tap Thespian. Then they have to like chump. If they don't, they're just dead to Stoke the Flames. Which means on their turn they'll crack back with Geoderm to kill the invasion. Get the 3/3, but we have like a fair bit of pressure on them. I think I like it's the more aggressive line. Our other option is just to Stoke here and hold an attack with the Sunblessed Guardian, but then they can trade these two for it. I actually think it's just worth flipping here and going for it. Bit of a riskier line, but I think it just puts so much pressure on them, and they have to have a way to deal with this. So go ahead and tap down Thespian, and if they like for whatever reason don't chump here, they're just dead to Stoke on our turn. So they're going to chump. But this puts them to 7 to 8. So they're just dead to one of these tokens next turn if they don't have a way to deal with this. Seed of Hope. Okay. Interesting little brew from the opponent here. Haven't like... It's obviously just a nice 5-color deck, but I haven't seen anything that's, you know, particularly powerful. Obviously, like, Geoderm's good and Invasion of Arcadia is good, but got the Blooded Burgeoning. They're going to need something here because Bola Slinger is going to tap down one of their blockers. So we're going to be able to clear the way with Stoke for the other. So they're going to need two. Going to need something. If they have a removal spell for Furnace Host, Blessed Conqueror, it's obviously not great for us because they get to flip. Pretty happy to see them do the Blighted Burgeoning there. They're not going for that. So now, I think we just play Knight of the New Coalition so that we get these guys down, and then we can Stoke. Still Stoke the Flames here. So let's go ahead and tap down the Rampaging Geoderm. So now we could ping one of these with Stoke. But I think it's actually just worth letting them block because they can double block here and then they're just dead to Stoke. So go ahead and let all this resolve. And then before they get to Surveil, we'll just Stoke the Flames them. Sweet game to the opponent. 4-1 with this deck, which is really nice. And I'll see everybody for game number 6. Alrighty, on to game number 6 here. 4-1 with this deck, which, I mean, after the first match, I don't know if you heard it in my tone, but I wasn't a big believer in it, but it's really come through for us. This hand's an interesting one on the draw. I think it's probably a keep. So let's Sword Cavalier into Sigil Sentinel is really nice. If we just draw one land, it's good, and we've got Invasion and Rive and Stoke, so Inspired Charge, not really what we wanted to draw there, but it's certainly not terrible. Rona is... Rona's tough. Rona's just like one of the best rares in the set. One of my favourite cards to open. Just gets to loot and then turn into a ridiculous threat in the late game. Absurd card, really hard to deal with. So yeah, not really happy to see the opponent bring that one down. Now I get to go ahead and just, I think, run out Sigil Sentinel. Like, they could have a similar essence there, but I don't think we want to worry too much about it. Put the counter on the Sentinel as we just want to diversify the threats here. I don't want to have it like two power creatures. So they're going to Forest Cycle here. So it looks like that's some kind of like Sultai deck. We're going to need to have something up to deal with the Rona. It's like, that's the other thing about Rona is like, If they play something super awkward for us, because we might not be able to... Well, the next turn if we draw a land... So if you're in Lancer, I was going to say if we draw a land, we could have played like Ryav if we drew Mountain, and then held up Stoke with like the Sentinel and it. Now I think we just like need to pray they don't have another land. Just play Zhalfir and Lancer and get in here. So they've got something here. They're not just trading their Rona. Oh dear. Fertilid's Favour is just like so brutal there. It's just not a card that I consider like particularly good. But yeah. Now they're just going to, I think, flip Rona. And we're basically just drawing to Realmbreaker's Grasp, I think, is really... Okay. Or not. Well, it gives us another turn now to deal with this thing. Yes, I think we just want to Invasion of Mercadia here. Probably just pitching Inspired Charge. Don't think it's particularly good in this spot. We'll just run out the Core Halberd, but yeah, again, really just needing to draw one of our Realmbreaker's Grasps here. We've got 2 of them in the deck, 26 cards. So there is a small chance we manage to get one here, but wow, so they're just not flipping. I mean, I think really they should just be flipping it. Getting in here. Loaded process. So they've got a lot of value here. I think we just run out the Hoplite and the Sunblessed Guardian. Because now we can like make this the backup. There is a potential we should have just played Ryav and equipped and attacked actually. Because I would have flipped it. I actually think, yeah, that line's maybe better. But again, we're not going to block Rona here. They really should just flip Rona, I think. We've still got the Ryav line though, available to us. Okay. So let's go ahead and start by Ryaving. Then I think we just want an Enduring Bond Warden. We can target probably just the Sunblessed Guardian. We're also going to get to make a copy of it, so we need to diversify here. I think we put one on the Hoplite. So there's Cosmic Hunger. In response, we can't Stoke, sadly. So we just have to let that one resolve. But it does mean we do get to put another backup counter on. Could put on the Hoplite, we could put on the Cavalier. The fact that this has Vigilance, actually, it means we're going to be able to hold Stoke up. So I think we just want to put it on this. They're going to go ahead and flip this. Oh. Wow, so Tandem Takedown there. Just absolutely brutal. This thing we just want to put the counters probably on Swordsworn Cavalier to maximize the power and toughness. Pass with no attacks. We can't Stoke now either. So maybe there's a different line, but the Cosmic Hunger and Tandem Takedown there is just pretty brutal. The Fertilid's Favour has been amazing for the opponent because And now they can just attack with their 7/7 Trampler. Yeah, we don't have any blocks for that. Realmbreaker's Grasp is the perfect draw. So let's go ahead and equip Swordsworn Cavalier, because now it gets double striking until the end of turn. And we'll just go ahead and I think we just want to... Do I want to just go to the face here? Because they're probably going to chump right now. I think they probably chump if we attack them. And we want them to chump before we do this so that they can't realm break. They can't sack it and get a 4/4 incubate token. They only get a 3/3. So now they get to incubate. The Realmbreaker's Grasp was just an amazing draw here because it's the only answer in our deck to this Rona, which is extremely problematic for us. We go ahead and ship the turn. So they get to Revelation away a heal slasher. They're going to double flip this. We're just going to go ahead and just attack with Swordsworn Cavalier, and again we're just going face with this one. Disturbing Conversion deals with that pretty nicely. And now we just get to move this over to Rive. We've still got the blocker. I think we just... probably just want to hold the land at this point. We can still stoke with Convoke. Although actually I think we should have just played the land there. I think that was a bit cute. Could get punished here as well. Yeah, so Merciless Repurposing on the Rive. It's pretty brutal. I think we just need to stoke the invasion here. It's just better than our other options. An invasion of Mercadia. Gonna go ahead and chump here. No reason to take the damage. So I think we can just discard. Could discard. We've got to be careful because we're just dead on the backswing to these. So I think we just want to actually suit up, make another 3/3, and then equip and attack with the 4/4 Vigilance. Because like another option for us next turn is to attack with this and make the tokens as blockers. And it gives it +5. Wow, so yeah, okay. Don't really have any good blocks there. We just let that one through. Knight Errant of Eos is potentially just one turn too late here. We can attack with Kiev actually. Yeah. I think we just get in with Kive and see if they accidentally block here. Don't think they will, but there's like a small chance they do. Okay, so now we can discard, pitch this here, make the token. Then we're going to want to suit up one because we can't. Going to need to chump. So I think we just want to suit up the Sentinel. Because now at least we can eat if they attack with everybody. Yeah, okay. If they attack like this, I'm pretty stoked because we can eat the 3/3. Yeah, okay. So our potential blocks are like this. Our other option is to trade the Sentinel on a 1/1 for the 5/5 and chump both the other creatures, but that line just leaves us it leaves us dead. So we can't, basically, because we can't play this, we just die if they swing out. So we block like this, we eat the 3/3. We trade, we leave them with one creature. We can. Okay, so now we attack with Sigil Sentinel. Get it in the air here. We could have played the 9 Errant of Eos, but then we just have to chump. Whereas now we can like double block. I think we just want to move this turn. So they both have vigilance. So now just go ahead and get in the air, stabilize on the ground, play 9 Errant of Eos out, no convoking. Wouldn't hit anything anyway. And then we can't flip the Seraph. Flitting Gorillas, sick one from opponent there. As is Realmbreaker's Grasp. That is an awesome rip. We could swing out here and just go for the win. But I don't think it's worth the risk here. I think it's just, I mean, they don't have anything, so we could have done it. But I think here this is the safer line. Managed to get the win, 5-1 there. That's an awesome, awesome win. And I will see you guys for game number 6. Alrighty, on to game number 7 here, going for win number 6. This hand is a keeper with the Hoplite into the Sigil Sentinel combo, which is super sweet. Gives them, they're both going to have vigilance. We're going to be able to convoke out the 9 Errant of Eos on turn 4. Hopefully hit some 2-drops, or if we hit another creature, we'd probably play it first to set up the maximum chance we hit with this. We're a Thespian. Not particularly worried about that one. It's going to mean we get to get both of our triggers off. There is an argument because of the Thespian that we want to put all the counters on the Hoplite here to just get in. But it also means that that's like the much bigger threat and they're going to deal with it. Definitely want to put one on the Hoplite. The question is, do we want to put the other one and just get in for 4 here? I think the answer is actually yes. I think we just want to put the pressure on. If they like deal with this, it also takes Vanquish the Weak out of an option, and it also takes Cosmic Hunger out as an option for them. We get to attack with both creatures next turn and then convoke out another 4/4. War Historian. So now we're just going to attack with just one creature and offer the trade here. I mean, if they want a 2-for-1 with Thespian and War Historian, I'm fine with that. Yeah, so we get to take both of these guys out. And then we'll go ahead and just cast Knight Errant of Eos. We have 2 1-drops in our deck, so there is a chance we hit with this one. And it's just about getting the body on the battlefield here and continuing the pressure. Ragavan is... Finally, the little monkey shows up, and we're very, very happy to see him. Ragavan's going to be really good here. So Herbology Instructor is pretty medium on this board. Nezumi Informant is fine. I'm going to go ahead and discard land here. So now we can play land, and our option is like we can Ragavan and Halberd it, and then it's a 4/3/2. So it trades with Herbology Instructor. I don't love that. Definitely want to play the Halberd here, but I think we just want to put it on Sigiled Sentinel and just and then just attack with both here. They don't really have any blocks. We can play Ragavan. If we draw any removal, we're just going to be able to get in with it, and we're trying to like pressure their life total here. Ragavan's going to come down. This was obviously you know, they had some really nice draws against the Ragavan there in order to lessen its effectiveness. Nezumi Informant's one of the better cards against Ragavan in the set. I mean, honestly, the Wary Thespian, Herbology Instructor, and Informant are all really good against Ragavan. But Vat Keeper's a very nice one here on this board. 5 power and toughness in 1 card. That's certainly going to make things tough. So opponent is stabilized really nicely. That deck looks pretty good. The green-black decks can really come together if you get, you know, the Herbology Instructors, etc. Yeah, opponent's made the right play there as well. They haven't flipped this. They only need to do this if we attack. And even then, they could like quadruple block. So I think we just want to put this on the Errant, and we'll trade Errant for the Vat Keeper and the token, or the Vat Keeper and the Informant, and prevent them from doubling the power and toughness of this. Though it looks like they may just have Final Flourish for this here. Sacking the Informant, I think, is the line. Then you can double the power and toughness of this, and you basically clog our whole board, and backing it up with the Herbology Instructor for another 2-for-1. It's pretty nice. So no play there. Going the long play. Interesting. It's interesting that they chose to flip this, given they have the Vat Keeper to double the power and toughness, but potentially they're just looking at flipping the Herbology Instructor and setting up a much more profitable block here. They're probably also worried that we have something in hand. So now I think we just Sigiled Sentinel onto the 9 Errant of Eos. Makes our blocks much better. They might have like Deadly Derision here, but I think the way we win this game is like we've just got to try and value them still. Like if we get to take out Elvish Vat Keeper and Herbology Instructor here, we're pretty happy. But I think they're going to have Sandstalker Moloch, okay. So now they can still a 2-for-1 here. Not a strict 2-for-1, but like 2-for-1.5. Go ahead and suit up a Sigiled Sentinel. Means if they flip this, because like one of the things that they probably want to do is they do want to clear Ragavan, because Ragavan is preventing them from attacking us at all, really, because if we draw like any removal spell here, So they're going to go ahead and flip Instructor. They probably should take out Ragavan. Because the risk is if we like draw removal, Ragavan gets in and we like take cards off them. So yeah, we're really looking to draw like Realm Breaker's Grasp, Stoke the Flames, Nahiri's Warcraft, and Nahiri's Warcrafting would be amazing here. There are some still like lines of drawing cards that we could... Oh wow, Overgrown Pest. So I would have thought you would want to flip the Instructor here. But I'm also happy for them to just keep going for lands. It's unfortunate that we're also in the habit of just going for lands at this point. Happily trade a Sentinel for a Vatkeeper here. And then we're just going to suit up the Sentinel as well. The incentive for us like doing this is that we're trying to get them to kill the Sentinel to get in. Whereas if they flip Instructor, kill Ragavan, we can just block and the battlefield's left with just a pest. Wow, so Doomscar Warrior. Not good for us here. But again, like we can just trade. If we do draw a removal spell here, can take out the warrior. So really need removal. Okay, so let's just go ahead and suit up old Raggy Boy. Put the Heal Slasher on him. And just get in. Hit a card off them. We're hoping to hit something here. Exile card was a forest, so nothing there. I wonder if we were meant to just put the counter here. I think, yeah. We should have put the counter on the red cap Heal Slasher. Bugger. Because, yeah, that was a misplay. Because now they can do this. They're going to take out Raggy Boy and then get in with Doomscar Warrior. Should have moved the Halberd there so that they, like, this blocks their whole board. They don't get a free hit off of Doomscar Warrior. There is some risk for them attacking here, but it's pretty low. We let them get a free card now. Just gotta hope they miss. They're not gonna miss though, like creature land. Yeah, giving them a free Gloomfang Mauler is probably gonna be GG's on this one. Yeah. Unfortunate. So here we're just going to like hope opponent makes a mistake. Oh, actually, no, the reason to do this is they either have to chump here, which they should, I think. Because it's got first strike, so just chump, but like maybe setting up a situation which we can stoke the flames them. But now, like, they're just going to Gloomfang Mauler onto their Doomscar Warrior. We don't really have any outs, so it's sort of... I think, yeah, the key term was not putting the Halberd on. Yeah, okay, that's just game, I think, now. We basically have to chump here. We have to chump. Oh, we don't have to chump. I think we just let this hit. I don't really know what we could draw. But there's a chance like they don't make a play here, and I don't think there's any combination of draws that get us the win. Pelucranos is certainly going to solidify things up here. Yeah, so that's just game there. 5-2 now. Let's see if we can close this one out. A couple of little misplays there might have cost us that game, but I think that their deck was pretty absurd and we were unlikely to win that one. And I'll see you in the next one. Alrighty, back again for game number 8 here. Well, on the play, we have a dream hand here with Ragavan, Swordsworn Cavalier into Bowler Slinger and Knight Errant of Eos with the Stoke back up. If they don't have a 1-drop, and especially if they don't have a 2-drop, they're pretty... they're in a bit of bother here. Elspeth Smite is going to be a very nice way to deal with Ragavan there from the opponent. Not much we can do about that. That's just, you know, it is sweet to hit the turn 1 Ragavan, but it's not always going to come off. We should have actually just played the mountain there to be able to stoke on their own step, but I don't really want to stoke this token. So now we can just put the counter on the Swordsworn Cavalier and attack in with First Strike, which I think... actually, I think we just want to put the counter on the Sigil Sentinel itself, because this 3-1's going to be able to trade with this no matter what, and this now also makes it be able to trade with it. And this way as well, we just have another 3-power creature. So, hit them for 3, they're going to flip that thing. They are mana screwed as well, so... And certainly next turn, like, we can Convoke, or we could play Bowler Slinger and get in with Sigil Sentinel. Having a 4/4 Vigilance could be pretty nice on this board. Opponent could definitely like have Cut Short, they could have Dispersal here, but I think we go ahead and just put... There's an argument to actually put it on the Swordsworn Cavalier, because we can tap down the 3/3, and actually that puts a lot more pressure on the opponent here. So I think I like that line. We could Slumber. Okay, that's a good one from opponent. That's going to disrupt us pretty heavily. Help them get back into this game. So I'm going to draw a card with Norn's Oracle of Tragedy. It's also unfortunate because we can't... Oh, wow. So, not... Getting in there is very aggressive from opponent. We could Knight Errant of Eos, but I think it's much better to do it when we have more creatures to tap with it. It's very likely our opponent's going to play something here. They're going to play something here that we want to kill with Stoke. So Invasion of Xerax. They're probably going to bounce the Swordsworn, yeah. So they bounce Swordsworn. Now they're going to attack this invasion, I think. Probably with the Oracle as well, to try and flip. Or the Norn's Inquisitor. Attacking us. Here I think it's definitely worth just stoking this 3/3 to stop them flipping the backside. So now we've got a couple of interesting options here. We can Knight of the New Coalition and tap all of our guys and Knight Errant of Eos, or we can just play all these out and then do this next turn. I think I quite like that second line here. It just puts a lot of pressure on the board. They're going to have a lot of blockers, and Knight Errant of Eos can replenish our hand next turn. So, also with the 3 Vigilance creatures, Knight Errant of Eos is going to be fantastic on this board, because we get to attack with everyone, tap down a blocker, Tiller of Flare. Like, we're going to tap down Tiller, attack with the team. And then we're going to get to follow up with the Knight Errant of Eos. They could have like aerial boost here. think it's unlikely enough. And this, like, we're just trying to get as much damage in as possible. It's also very likely that if they're going to block another creature and try and kill it, it's probably the bolt. They probably need to kill the Bowler Slinger. They probably need to actually block. Yeah, like that. Oh, I think they actually should have probably tried to kill the Bowler Slinger. Now we're going to convoke out our Knight Errant of Eos here. Get to draw 2 creatures. So we'll go ahead and take these 2 here. Now the interesting question here is, like, do they have, if they have Sunfall? So we've got enough creatures on the board here that I think we're going to win from this position, whether or not they have. The only card I could see us really losing to there is Sunfall, and so if we hold these, we have a nice backup play against the Sunfall. So I think it's probably worth holding them. Could be incorrect, or it could be meant to go wide there, but I think it's worth playing around Sunfall in that spot. Given we can tap down like an attacker with Bowler Slinger, now they get to incubate. And now like that's pretty punishing for us. Realmbreaker's Grasp is really nice. So we can go ahead and we're going to run everyone out now. We can't cast Realmbreaker's Grasp as well as all of these cards. So the question is, what's better for us here? We can make 2 4/4s. They have 4 blockers, so they're going to be able to block. I think we just want to get out. Run out the Sentinel here. Make this one a 4/4. And then I think we want to make probably want to make one of these a 3/3. If you make this a 5/5, actually I think we just want to make this a 5/5 here. We just want to make it really tough for them to block. Ship with the team here. Put as much pressure on them as we can. The blocks are pretty awkward for them. They can eat 1 here. But we're taking out 2 of their creatures. And we've gone very wide now. So effectively we traded a Knight token there for 2 Knight tokens for Oracle of Tragedy and the Printing Champion, and that's absolutely fine. Now if they've got a 2/4, we've got a Realmbreaker's Grasp. We have enough attackers on the board to finish the game off, I think. Unless, you know, if they have Sunfall now, we'll play to them. But I think we needed to go wider there. They're just a bit constrained by their mana. You know, they can't flip these tokens. Oracle of Tragedies aren't going to do it, unfortunately, for our opponent. And we'll be able to put the Grasp on the Oracle. Yeah, so we want to actually put it on Oracle here because it forces them, like the Tiller is still going to activate if it lives. So the Oracle will force them to actually chump with the Tiller of Flesh here. So now we get in. And opponent's taking 9 at the moment. Yeah, so good game to the opponent. 6-2 so far with this deck. And I'll see you for the final one when we go for the trophy. Alrighty, back again for the final match. And this is a very interesting hand here. On the play with Ragavan. And I'm going to keep it. It's a 1-lander, but if they don't have anything to deal with Ragavan, the treasure that you create is effectively the same as lands. And you can hit your opponent's lands as well. So drawing a land there is really nice. But hopefully we hit something off opponent. So yeah, we can't cast our lands. But now we can play our own land I think we just want to play out. Probably want to just maximize the use of our mana here and just get the Lancer out. If opponent doesn't have a 2-drop, we're in a pretty good spot here. Portent Tracker is going to deal with Ragavan pretty nicely. To the point where I think it's probably worth just getting in with... The question is, do we get in with the Ragavan here? Because we could equip it at some point and give it double strike. I think it's actually worth just holding it, given we drew Ray of hit there. Like, at some point we may actually just be able to Core Halberd and Ray of combo with Ragavan and absolutely go off and make tons of treasures. So Notfeld Hermit from opponent is a nice one. So now we can play... We've got a choice between playing Rav and not being able to attack, or we can play Swordsworn Cavalier and attack. I think I like just playing the Rav. If opponent like leaves a gap open for us to get in with Core Halberd, we can just, like, if they attack with the Notfeld Hermit here, we can get in pretty nicely with our squad. And they may like decide that they can put some pressure on us. Also, we can just trade Ragavan for Notfeld Hermit, which is nice. Or we can put the... So now we can actually put... I think we play Core Halberd. And we put it on the Lancer. This turn. Next turn we can play Enduring Bond Warden. Put the counter on the Ragavan. And put the Halberd on it. His opponent's probably got Final Flourish here. It looks like. Cosmic Hunger. Okay. So now we get to just put it on Ragavan. Raggy B. We could attack and offer the trade here. But I think it's better to just do it next turn. Because then they don't have a clean 1-for-1 on the board. It does give them the opportunity to draw something here and deal with Ragavan. But, okay, so they're getting in with the Hermit. We're going to have no blocks here. I think they probably got some, like a Merciless Repurposing or a Deadly Derision for Ragavan here. Seems unlikely that they would, yeah, Invasion of Lorwyn going to come down. Interesting, like they should have actually killed Ragavan before then. So now I think we just want to put the Bond Warden here. And then just say go, so that we have 2 creatures and we have Stoke. So we can block the 2-2. And we can eat the 2-2. We're also incentivizing them here to flip the Hermit, in which case we can Stoke in response. They can't flip this. Because if they flip, yeah. So now we get to Stoke the Hermit. And then they still can't flip their battle. And we're going to get to have a 4/4 Vigilance Double Striker next turn. And play another creature. So, with a chump blocker back as well. If we need it. Okay. So now we go ahead and suit up Big Rive. We're going to start by getting in. They're going to have to chump, I think, here. Or Final Flourish, if they've got a Final Flourish. Wow, sacking Overgrown Pest. Interesting. Now I'll definitely just go ahead and get the Seraph of New Capenna down. Just more mana efficient. If we draw land next turn, we can play 2 creatures and equip. Which we do. Go ahead and get in here. Opponent's only got one card in hand, so I think it's probably another removal spell. It's probably like Deadly Derision. Yeah, wow, they had a stack of removal against us, but we're now going to get to throw down with our team here. They've got 5 cards in the graveyard. This 2/4, like, we can actually block it if we want to, and additionally, it's not going to flip this turn. So we can actually let it get a hit in while we equip, and then if we draw a land, we can flip and equip. In which case, you know, this will be a 4/4 with a 3/3 attacking. So they're actually under a ton of pressure if they attack here, and I don't think they can. So let's go ahead and flip. We'll pay a life to do it. And then we can suit it up as well. Now just get in. And if we draw any backup creature next turn, Furnace Blessed Conqueror is insane with backup because the copy gets all the backup abilities. So they do get to mill there, but I'm not bothered with that. We need to start putting the pressure on the opponent. I think this is probably a dead card in their hand. And now Unseal is absolutely insane on this board. They get to boost that creature. They get the Moloch and they get the Not-Filled Hermit back. So Unseal's going to make it really, really tough for us. We also have terrible blocks now into that 5/4. So I think we basically just have to block like this. We can't let them flip this turn. We trade the Oilcaster here for the 2. Don't have any 1/1 counters, so it's going to be really tough for us to win from here. Not-Filled Hermit, obviously, massive problem. Going to get to equip. And suit up a 5/3, which isn't bad because it can trade with Hermit. They can cast Moloch now. But Moloch, like the fact that our creature has first strike, they could have double blocked there actually, because we just only kill one of them. Now they're actually leaving themselves a little bit open, and they're dead to a Stoke the Flames, but both our Stokes are in the bin. Considering we kept a 1-lander, I mean, this game has gone surprisingly well. I think a little bit unlucky that they had a way to stop Ragavan on turn 2. It would have been sweet to just keep getting in. Maybe it was a mulligan, but yeah, certainly like just wanted to have a little bit of fun with the Ragavan. And now opponent, like, if we can go wide, Knight of the New Coalition comes down. If we have a... Wow, so they've gone to 2 life here, transforming. So they're putting themselves dead to any removal spell here, I think. If they attack us. Because presumably they're going to attack with the Hermit, the Hulk, and the Tracker. We're not going to double block. We may actually block now. Yeah, I think we actually just take the trade here. Pretty happy to trade the 2/2 for the 4/3 there. And similarly, like, because now if we hold back, we can trade. If we hold back, then they can just chump, attack and flip, have the creature that blocks this really well. Whereas this way they can chump. And I think the mistake is actually to block with the Hulk, because okay, they might have Unseal or something, but now they have 3 turns off this. If we draw any creature that blocks the 1/1, they're not getting the backside. Whereas I think if they chumped and got the backside there, then they would be able to... I mean, this is an 8/8, so it basically just blocks all of our creatures. So land not ideal there. So basically, I think this is a game of can we draw a land, a non-land this turn. So Nahiri's Warcrafting is fantastic actually because we're going to get 2 cards out of it hopefully. Which we do. We can equip. If they don't have anything here, we might get to close this one out. It'd be pretty unlucky for them to also have not hit absolutely anything. Wildwood Escort. Opponent and I are just trading sick top decks. I mean, they can go and get like another Oilcaster, a Moloch, but they're actually tapped wrong. So, the Not-Felled Hermit, they're going to have a land in hand, I think. Here. Surely they have a land in hand. I mean, unless they have removal, you'd think they would have a land. They could have like Invasion of Fiora or something, but yeah, I don't know. Super unlucky that our second Stoke got milled in this game. We still have a couple of Sigiled Sentinels in the deck, which would be really sick here because it could make this a 5/5. Although that doesn't do a ton actually. I think if they play the Hermit, we just make a 4/4 and a 3/3 so that they have to trade the Hermit off for the Shield Hoplite, and then we can have the 3/3, and if we draw a removal spell we can deal with the Escort. But this is really just going to come down to who can draw more spells and not lands, unless they have some sweet bomb in their deck or something. So timing out a little bit here. Back online, they've got the land, they're going to play the Hermit, so I think opponent's pretty well positioned to win this one. They're still timing out, so don't know what's going on. Must be experiencing of the old classic arena lag. Land there is just absolutely awful. They can't flip the Hermit. They should just attack with just the Hermit to get the 9/9. Like, we're not going to block. Yeah, okay. So now they've got 2 4/4s. I think it's pretty unlikely that we win this game from here. I think this has been an absolutely sweet run with this deck, and I'm pretty happy with 6 and 3. It was nice to do something different, play a more aggressive-based deck, and that is going to do it. Hitting a lot of land there was just really tough. 6 and 3, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And leave a comment below if you enjoyed trying to do something different in draft as opposed to just going down the typical March of the Machine blue-black draft. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.